First, it's the most anti-environmental House of Representatives in U.S. history, according to a new database compiled by Democratic lawmakers. As you heard, Environmental Protection Agency Administrator Lisa Jackson talked about this on HBO's Real Time with Bill Maher, noting that GOP lawmakers have now held over one vote a day to dismantle U.S. environmental and public health protections on the false premise that regulations cost jobs. Administrator Jackson also noted that yet another new poll shows the vast majority of Americans want the EPA to enforce clean air rules.
75% of Americans, poll after poll, say that they want EPA to do its job and they don't want politicians to tell them what's healthy and safe for us.
And that latest poll by Public Policy Polling shows 75% of Americans want the EPA to establish even stricter limits on pollution and hold corporations responsible for the toxins they release into the environment.
That's 75% of Democrats, right?
No, that includes Republicans as well.
And independents, if I'm not mistaken.
This agreement with the prior analysis surprised us.
Thank you, billionaire Koch brothers. The billionaire Koch brothers, owners of one of the nation's largest oil and chemical conglomerates, along with being the founders and funders of the Tea Party and the climate change denial industry, the billionaire Koch brothers have done something good, funding a new climate research project at UC Berkeley, although the result is probably not what they were looking for.
Analysis of these stations, we found a warming trend. Our result is very similar to that reported by the prior groups, a rise of about 0.7 degrees Celsius since 1957. This agreement with the prior analysis surprised us.
That was Berkeley physicist Richard Muller, the prominent skeptic who set out to disprove the findings of NASA and other prominent scientific organizations in a House hearing earlier this year presenting his preliminary results. Now the results are in, and he says they confirm that the world is indeed warming, and his results invalidate several key climate change skeptic arguments.
So let me get this straight. The Koch brothers funded a study meant to show that climate science saying that the globe was warming was all a bunch of hooey, and their own study shows that the original science was correct and that the Koch brothers have been wrong all along.
That is true.
Well, then indeed, thank you, Koch brothers.
Oh, but it gets better. Now the climate science denier community has thrown the Berkeley physicist under the bus, criticizing his methods, and are now very upset that he said, quote, "You should not be a skeptic any longer." They've gone now to the predictable spin cycle, which you'll find happens with most climate change denial industry people. First, they say it isn't happening. Then they say, oh, it's happening, but humans aren't responsible. Then they say, okay, humans are responsible, but it's too expensive for us to do anything. And finally, they start calling for billions of dollars of investment for geoengineering, basically anything to keep using fossil fuels.
So do we have any direct response from those folks who have been forwarding the Koch brothers propaganda all these years? Like Oklahoma Senator James Inhofe, who has famously said,
"Science is not settled. Everyone knows it's not settled."
Or Rush Limbaugh, who has also said,
"We know it is a hoax."
Or even Rick Perry, who very recently said,
the issue of global warming has been politicized. I think there are a substantial number of scientists who have manipulated data.
No, they've all been pretty quiet.
So they're not running around and publicizing this great new study from the Koch brothers for some reason.
Nope.
Imagine that.